Space Dandy episode 9, Plants Are Living Things too, baby. This episode I thought was really interesting. It wasn't the super over the top funny, like most episodes are, but it was just as weird as any of the other ones. They go to a planet, Dandy and Meow, although Meow's just, like, the whole episode, I kind of love how Meow is, like, on the other side of the planet, and he just gets fat. Like, that's it, and there's no real story except the lesser aliens, that didn't mutate nearly as much as the ones Dandy encountered. They were pretty much just fattening up Meow, and they were like, hey, by the end of the episode, it was just like, hey, it's about time we eat this guy, because, we fattened him up, and there's nothing better than freshly fattened, food. They said something, and it was a French word. I can't remember what word it was, though. But it was just him, getting fat, like, every maybe 5 to 7 minutes they'd show a clip of Meow just eating food or showing a clip of him, and I thought that was really interesting. But as far as the main story of Dandy, interacting with these plants and stuff, it started off simple like a normal episode. They transport to this planet, which it was cool to see them use the teleporter or the transporter again. And it was funny how QT mentioned how he fixed it up and stuff, and so when he uses it, they just like vanish in a like puff of smoke, which was cool. And then it's like it's a lot faster, but the accuracy's off now. And then it was like Dandy lands on top of the house or whatever, and I was like, well, now he's been eaten. And that was the beginning of the episode, which kind of blew my mind a little bit. And it was like, well, here we go. But the episode was really good. I enjoyed the animation because it was very different. It was sort of, I guess the best way to describe it, and this is how I always do it, is it's sort of loose animation or loose art, where it's sort of like everything sort of floppy and things like that. Although his animation was very, it was very tight. It was just the way it looked. It was sort of that loose art sort of style that they use in other anime when they're doing really, really fast-paced action. And I enjoyed that. It was interesting. And, he didn't have his jacket on. It was just his red shirt. So it was kind of interesting. And he looked a little different because of the animation and stuff. And I enjoyed that. And his interaction with the plants, it was interesting. It was sort of, it wasn't, I can't say somber because it's kind of sad, but it was sort of, it was mellow. That's a good term for it. It was a really mellow interaction he had. And, of course, he was still doing his job where he's like, we came to this planet to find, it was like Creature D or something like that. And the plants, they know about this. And you see, the whole planet is just plants and like cells and stuff and amoeba and things like that. And odds are, if you're in high school or college or something, you already knew that because at some point you've seen that in a book. And I thought that was interesting. It was like amoeba floating around, and the plants were mutated to the point where they were smart. So it was really interesting to see. And then they sort of learn, you learn more about the planet as Dandy gets closer to finding this Creature D. And when he gets to it, and it's just like a spinning meteorite that mutated everything, and he tries to take it, like the little purple blobs were like antibodies and they were protecting it. And I thought that was pretty cool to see. And it was just really interesting. And like when they came across the caterpillar, it really surprised the main plant that we really see, the scientist plant. And he was surprised that there was actually a creature on that planet, and it shows that that planet was continuing to mutate. And it's a giant caterpillar, so even though everything was giant, it was still, in retrospect, they were just still plants and stuff. So who knows what would have happened if that place continued to mutate, how large the creatures would have ended up being. But I thought it was really interesting. And they had another sort of musical section, and not when because I was actually cooking while I was watching the episode, I didn't pay too much attention to, but the song was okay. And it was like, that's also another reason, like, I've heard the music, but it didn't really catch me like in some of the other episodes, like the one with the little girl and the scene where he was surfing at the end of the Vesties versus Undies episode. But the song was okay, and it was interesting. Plants like moving around, and it's, by the end it was just like, spores were all over the screen and stuff like that. And it was interesting to see. And the song wasn't like horrible or anything like that. It just wasn't like, oh, I want to find this song and like download it or anything like that. It was just, it sort of fit with the episode. It was just like, this is interesting, and I just enjoy it for what it is, which is just something that's still just as crazy as the other episodes, but not in that really funny sense, in a more, like I said, in a more mellow sense. And it was still really, really well done. And the ending was actually kind of sad, which I wasn't expecting. It was a lot like um, them with the dog, where the dog died. I was like, I wasn't really expecting that to happen, and that was sad in that episode. And this was sort of a sad ending where it's like, he interacted with these plants, and like the little girl plant, they all just, um, I guess, demutated, like in a sense, and they all reverted back to their original forms, and that's not what I was expecting. But it was really good, and that moment was actually fairly somber, and it was sort of sad. And then I think that's why they instantly went straight to Meow, and he's just like fat, and he's like, like what happened? And he's surrounded by mushrooms because the mushrooms weren't as smart as their normal plants. So it was kind of interesting, but loved the episode. Thought it was really cool. I was, like I said, the animation was definitely interesting to see. They actually switched it up. Like after he was sort of eaten by the plant, it kind of changed everything in the series until they went back to the ship. So I thought that was really cool. Love the interaction between Dandy and the plants, and just the mellow tone of the episode was actually really enjoyable, and how everything ended, and he sort of, in a sense, he did save them because that's what the big plant wanted, but at the same time, it was still kind of sad because they did devolve. That's the term I should have used instead of demutated. But they devolved into their original forms, and so it was sort of sad, but at the same time, it was really good. And you know, Meow's fat, and that was just funny, of course. But loved the episode. Definitely comment below. Let me know what you guys thought of it. Favorite parts, at least favorite parts. What I want to ask you guys this time, because I saw the preview, of course, because they do it every week. I'm really excited for next week. So I want to know: are you guys excited to learn more about Meow and his family and his species, or would you guys rather see another random story? Because personally, I'm excited to get some background on some of these characters, and we probably won't get too much because of the type of show that it is, but it'll be a lot more than what we've had, which is really just he's a Beetlejuicean, and he looks like Beetlejuiceans look like cats, and that's really all we have. But I'm excited to get some background, so comment below, let me know what you guys think about that, and thanks for watching.